Hey guys, what's up? Thanks for clicking. A quick apology to my subscribers as I couldn't upload sooner due to health issues, but now we're back and we'll talk about everything extensively. In this video, we'll be discussing Joyboy, the GumGum Fruit, and my focal point, as you have already guessed from the thumbnail, that how Rocks, Xebec, Kaido, and Shanks all wanted to be Joyboy in a way, but they couldn't, and all of them took different paths, and through their journeys, either willingly or unwillingly, they ended up paving the path for Luffy to achieve his true dream, through which he will become worthy of the title of Joyboy. So please keep watching and thank you for the support. The last two chapters of our favorite manga have been very interesting, as the main message that they were projecting pertains not only to Wano but to the series as a whole. In chapter 10-17 and 10-18, we finally get to see who's who versus Jinbei after loads of teasing. But as soon as the fight started, all of the fandom seems to have forgotten about Wano and has gone into their own respective flashbacks, reliving what happened in East Blue and thinking about what these reveals might actually mean. So there are two big reveals in these two chapters, and this video we'll talk about the first one, Shanks and the stolen fruit. So, Shanks stole the GumGum Fruit from a government ship, and that fruit was so important to the government that who's who, the one responsible for protecting that fruit, who was considered a genius at par with Rob Lucci, was fired from the CP9 and sent to Impel Down for that mistake. Now what's important to note here is the ginormity of that mistake. In the Enies Lobby arc, we see Spandam destroy the whole judicial island of Enies Lobby by accidentally issuing a buster call, and the CP9 fails their mission collectively as a team. They fail to deliver Nico Robin to the world government, who is one of the biggest threats to their existence. They end up destroying the judicial island through a buster call, and they are somewhat responsible for putting the Straw Hat Pirates in the limelight for defeating them. I mean, you cannot cover up such a big incident at a government island. And after all these failures, Spandam and certain members of the CP9 still seem to be a part of the CP0, in what appears to be a promotion for Rob Lucci and a demotion for Spandam, as he previously was the leader of the CP9. So why was losing a devil fruit like the GumGum Nomi such a big mistake that who's who had to be fired and jailed instead of just being demoted like Spandam? Why is the GumGum Fruit so important? If we talk about power, then there are several fruits that are way superior, like the strongest Paramecia fruit, the Gura Gura Nomi, that was wielded previously by Whitebeard and now by Blackbeard. If we talk about defense, then obviously Marco's mythical fruit, the Tori Tori Nomi model Phoenix, which essentially makes him invincible in many cases. If we talk about speed, Kizaru's Pika Pika Nomi, I mean what's faster than light itself. If you talk about special abilities, then I think the Yami Yami Nomi's power to negate devil fruit powers wins. And if you want balance, then why not Katakuri's fruit, the Mochi Mochi Nomi, which is almost a superior version of Luffy's fruit as it behaves more as a Logia, hence its category special Paramecia. So in conclusion, the GumGum Fruit is not overpowered, it requires a lot of practice and skill for effective use, as we all know Luffy practiced the GumGum pistol for 10 years. Its defense is not that amazing, its speed is not extraordinary. The only thing remarkable about this fruit is the use of gears, which I am sure that Luffy invented. But even that has disadvantages like loss of lifespan while using second gear, etc. So why is this fruit so special to the government? If you think about it, the answer is quite simple, and I'm pretty sure that many people have already figured this out. And that fruit is important because of the precedents it has set. To put it in simpler terms, there existed a person or multiple persons in the past who wielded the powers of the GumGum Fruit, and they shook the world government and maybe even the world itself. And this fruit acts as an heirloom of those who stood above everybody else and displayed strength powerful enough to shake the despots of the current world. And this reminder is what scares these despots, because they don't want the legacy of the previous users to continue. Now, if we were to guess who these people were, two big names come up, Rocks Xebec and Joyboy of the Ancient Kingdom, and that's what most people talk about. But what I personally feel is that the answer is both. One thing that's an irrefutable fact is that the idea of Joyboy was popularized way before Roger went to Laugh Tale. Roger learned Joyboy's story at Laugh Tale, but he already knew that such a figure existed, and that's the reason why he chased after that lost history. After all, something made Roger realize that there was a hidden treasure waiting for him at the end of the Grand Line, so there had to be some sort of catalyst. And the answer to the question that who that catalyst was is pretty clear. The main people who are confirmed to know about Joyboy right now are Sengoku, Kaido and Roger, and all of them have one common person or incident associated with them. That is, the God Valley incident and Rocks T. Xebec. So let's speculate what could have happened 38 years ago. We won't speculate the whole situation, but only parts that are important to the GumGum Fruit discussion. Rocks T. Xebec was an ambitious pirate who had the resolve to become the king of the world by any means necessary. In the pursuit of his dream, he came across some clue. Now it's very hard to speculate what this clue could be, but that clue made him partially aware of the ancient history. That clue made him aware of the existence of a person that lived way back and who had made many big promises but was unable to complete them. Gradually, Rocks became aware of a prophecy that the will of that ancient person, the will of Joyboy, would be passed to someone in the future who would bear the middle name of Day. Now we don't know too much about Rocks, but what we do know is that he was willing to pay any price to become the king of the world. And another thing that gives us clues as to what his personality was is his smile. Now that smile could mean many things. He could be like Luffy, always smiling irrespective of what happens and leaning towards the positive side of the spectrum, but his motives suggest otherwise. I perceive Rocks to be leaning a bit towards the evil side. He hears of a prophecy that there would be a big war and some wonder boy in this world would bring about a big change in this world, and his ambitions and delusions instantly made him think that he was the chosen one. Obsessed with this legend, he tries to learn more about this Joyboy. He gets to know that he was a GumGum person, and in an attempt to become Joyboy, he eats that fruit, imitating him. I think the importance of the GumGum Fruit is going to be more symbolic rather than something like it being the key to some ancient weapon or Gear 5 itself being an ancient weapon or some other stupid theory. Rocks was a villain who believed himself to be a hero, and he forced the identity of a hero upon himself, and the God Valley incident was an attempt to transform that delusion into a reality. And that's why the world government wanted to hide this fruit, because they were scared that the release of this fruit in public would remind others of a certain psychopath who was so powerful that two of the biggest and most polar names in history had to combine their forces to beat him, that is Monkey D. Garp and Goldie Roger. But when this fruit was stolen by Shanks, the world government chose not to pursue it, as pursuing it would only bring more attention to the said fruit. And like I said, the GumGum Fruit was being guarded to hide its legacy and not because it had amazing and unparalleled power. Another question that arises is that why did Shanks steal this fruit? But before we answer that, we'll speculate about Kaido and Rocks. Kaido was a part of Rocks' crew, and many people theorize him to be some kind of a weak, distant cabin boy in the crew. But I think that he was always a heavy hitter and he really felt strongly about his captain. I'm not sure whether he admired Rocks or hated him, but he really felt strongly about him, recognized his power, and paid attention to what he was actually doing. Kaido also wanted to become a great man, just like Rocks, and was very interested in seeing how his captain's journey would end. As we see in the current story, Kaido's main goal is to immortalize himself by dying in this great war that he aspires to commence. But was dying always his goal? I think that initially Kaido wanted to be something different. So when he saw his captain obsessing with this legend, obsessing with Joyboy, and ultimately losing, then he realized that this Joyboy person would be something else, as he would be the one who would accomplish something that even his captain couldn't. And that's one of the reasons why Kaido stays at Wano, so he can meet Joyboy and start this war. Now coming back to why Shanks stole the Gomu Gomu no Mi. To speculate or answer this question, we would need to recall what happened when Roger returned from Laugh Tale. When the Roger pirates came back for Buggy and Shanks, Roger and Shanks share a brief moment where they talk. Roger tells something to Shanks and he ends up crying. Now I'm pretty sure that Roger wasn't talking about disbanding his crew, as that is something he would announce to the whole crew at the same time. So here are my thoughts. Roger knew Shanks' goal, and that goal was on the lines of becoming Joyboy. Shanks wanted to accomplish something that only Joyboy could do, and Roger told him that they were not the ones that would accomplish that goal, and that made Shanks cry. But instead of taking this thing in a bad way, Shanks decided that instead of doing something stupid, he would wait for the inheritor of Joyboy's title and hold down the fort for him. Since Rocks and the world government knew about the GumGum Fruit's importance, that it belonged to the previous Joyboy, it is pretty easy to assume that Shanks and Roger eventually learned that as well. So to prevent someone who followed Xebec's ideal from eating the GumGum Fruit, Shanks ended up stealing it. He was doing the same thing as the world government, The only difference was that he didn't trust the GumGum Fruit in the world government's hands. So he steals the fruit and takes it away. But what does he do with it? Where should he hide it? The answer to this question, and one of my biggest predictions, is that Shanks has an alliance with Monkey D. Garp. I think that it is very suspicious that two of the biggest names in the world, one a pirate and one a marine, keep going to the same island again and again, and they never end up fighting each other or even meeting each other. I think that Fuchsia village was a way of indirect contact between Garp and Shanks. Shanks stole the GumGum Nomi and came to Fuchsia village to give the fruit to Garp for safekeeping, and Luffy just happened to eat it. Initially, Shanks was pretty shocked about what had happened, but gradually he realized who Luffy was and made a bet that he was Joyboy, and then he awaits Luffy to climb the ladder to becoming a great pirate so he can help him make the final step to accomplishing that dream that was never realized. And similarly, after witnessing the fall of his captain, Kaido awaits the return of Joyboy so that he can fight him in a great fall, and either willingly or unwillingly become one of the stepping stones for him to climb. And that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and let me know your views in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one.